Dear students, greetings for the day. Today we will discuss fitting, problems and remedies. Objectives 1. To understand the importance of fitting in fashion garments. 2. To study the basic terminology related to the garment fitting. 3. To understand the factors that influence the fit of a garment. 4. To understand the basic fitting issues associated with clothing. The term fit refers to the tightness, looseness and shape of clothing in relation to the person who is wearing it. A well-fitted garment is the right size and does not pull tightly or sag loosely when worn. The importance of fit cannot be overstated. Fit determines the attractiveness, the appearance of quality and the physical comfort of the garment. When talking about fit in this chapter, classic styles and conventional standards of fit are going to be discussed. Fashion trends, the individual design of each garment and personal taste are influential in determining a good or a bad fit. Fitting depends on three factors: the design, the fabric used and the figure beneath the garment. The design, the dimensions of a garment are determined by the prevailing fashion silhouette. The looseness or fullness a designer introduces into a garment in order to achieve the desired fashion look is known as design ease. A designer may intentionally make a garment oversized, or it may be loose, semi-fitted, fitted or a combination of these. A fitted garment is quite tight and is shaped with seams and darts to closely follow the lines of the body. A semi-fitted garment still follows the shape of the body but may have tucks or gathers to introduce a little fullness. A loose garment is unfitted and with gathers, tucks and pleats or inserts added for extra fullness, camouflages the body shape underneath. An oversized garment is a very large fit which is not sized or shaped to fit any particular figure and is often labeled as one size fits all. Regardless of fashion, most garments are cut with wearing ease, which should not be confused with design ease. Wearing ease is extra width over and above the actual body measurement which is added to a garment to provide comfort and allow movement. The amount of wearing ease designed into clothing is influenced by the intended end use of the garment. Clothing designed for athletic activity is most commonly designed with a large amount of ease to ensure free movement and comfortable relaxation. Lingerie is worn against the skin and is meant to be hidden from view by any clothing above, that includes seam lines. It will have the least amount of ease added to it, to ensure that it sits flat against the body. While outerwear and jackets are cut with more plenty of room as it has to over the body and the clothing underneath combined. The fabric, the weight and texture of a fabric determines its performance while being worn and the type of silhouette for which it is suitable. Different types of fabric will affect the amount of ease required. Stretch fabrics don't need as much ease since they can stretch to accommodate movement in the body. Thickness, weight and texture of fabric can also impact upon the ease of a garment. Crisp fabrics such as taffeta often will sit away from the body, and will need more ease added to it in order to make it drape nicely. While flimsy material like voile may tear if placed under too much strain of a tight-fitting garment. It will also drape more nicely when allowed to flow freely. Clingy fabrics such as jersey and chiffon will cling to the body, even when cut more generously. Bulky fabric won't necessarily bend and stretch well, preventing free movement. Lined garments wear and fit better than unlined garments. Garments are often lined with smooth material and placed against the skin. The smoothness of the material will allow it to slip against the skin instead of creating friction against a fabric with rough texture. The figure, even if the construction of the garment is perfect, badly fitting clothing may be caused by bad posture, an asymmetrical body or by proportions or contours which differ from the ideal people. The way a person likes clothing to fit is a matter of personal preference. Some people like a lot of wearing ease, while others feel more comfortable in clothing which fits closely. A good fit, a garment that fits well will hang from the shoulder to the hemline without the appearance of strain, tightness, gaping, or looseness. The sleeve will be in perfect alignment with the arm. The garment will appear neither too short nor too long from neckline to waistline and from waistline to hemline. It will appear neither too tight nor too loose for comfort. The hemline and horizontal balance lines will be parallel with the floor. The center lines of the garment will be in perfect alignment with the figure regardless of body symmetry, proportions and stance. That is, the figure need not be perfectly symmetrical, the proportions and stance may be less than ideal, but the garment will still align properly when well fit. Standard for good fit. 5 standards for good fit: ease, line, set, balance and grain. 1. Ease. Ease is the difference between the circumference measurements of the figure and of the garment. The amount of ease should be sufficient for comfort and in keeping with fashion, the style and type of garment and fabric used. Very loose garments look clumsy. Insufficient ease in a garment is indicated by tight horizontal creases or by the garment riding up on the figure. Excessive ease is indicated by loose vertical folds. Line refers to many aspects of fitting: the silhouette of the garment, the proportion of garment to the figure and of various parts of the garment to each other, the shape of curved lines and the placing of the details of the design. When fitting for line, study the general appearance of the entire garment, taking particular note of the silhouette and proportion. Obviously, silhouette varies according to fashion, but good line is not determined by fashion and the rules apply constantly. The correct proportion can only be found when actually fitting the garment on the figure, as it is dependent on individual figure and on current fashion and is affected by every detail of design, such as placing of the seams and the width of the collar. Good proportion accents the attractive points of the figure. 3. Set refers to the way in which the fabric fits to the contours of the figure. The fabric should be perfectly smooth and free of creases in all areas. In common with balance, the set will be correct when the grain is correctly positioned, but as set is such, many people prefer to fit by observing and eliminating any creases, rather than by correcting the position of the grain. Incorrect set is indicated by creases in the fabric which are caused by a curve or hollow of the figure needing more or less width or length. Creases may be tight or loose, and vertical, horizontal or diagonal. Balance. Balance is the relationship between the garment and the figure, and between various parts of the garment. The balance is correct when the garment hangs equally either side of the figure at all points when viewed from the front, back or side, and with vertical seams perpendicular to the ground. Grain refers to the lengthwise and crosswise threads from which a woven fabric is constructed. Although straight grain refers to either set of threads, the straight grain line on a pattern is always placed parallel to warp threads. The warp threads, which are thicker and stronger in most fabrics than the weft threads, take most of the strain and also ensure that garment hangs attractively. The warp grain should be perpendicular to the ground on the center front and center back lines, and on the center line of a sleeve. If any of these lines have seams which contain flare, the straight grain line is usually positioned approximately midway between the center and side seams. The weft grain should be parallel to the ground on the front and back width lines, the hip line and the top arm line of a sleeve.